details. I liked the idea that we landed on that. Imagine the Citadel being, this place not unlike where there's lots of flies swarming around. But this very very Professor X-Men like place where there's probably like cliques and factions within there. Like some of the mages study together, maybe go on missions together. But considering the very diverse makeup of your friend group here, hold on. God, I'm gonna wait for that siren to go by. I kind of imagine it's like this.
It's me.
Jesus, Shane. Kind of imagines it's like this, very Professor X School for the Gifted type place, but in a fantasy realm where, the Rangers go out ranging together. They do mixed parties to go on missions together. They probably pull in a lot of gold to pay for the costs of the school by taking jobs around the area. But the place itself was like a bit of a prestigious place. And much like any of these places with a very deep pyramid structure of power and people within this organization, you all were probably like, the freshman class at the time and had very little insight into some of the deeper going-ons of this Citadel. Not to say you hadn't heard rumors or suspicions, especially some of you that were more in tune with the magic users who worked here and who taught and trained you. Mystagon, you were exposed to one of such mentor at a time, and his name was Bellic. And we'll circle back to that in a moment, but there was for lack of detail, some incident, let's say about 15 or 20 years ago, where it was basically like its own small localized cataclysm, where the school basically just got sucked into the earth. The ground itself ripped apart, and the Citadel was just sinking in, and it became a everyone fleeing for their lives situation. To this day, you don't know exactly what happened, but the Citadel never reopened or reformed after that. Many of you likely went your separate ways after this, but probably stayed in loose contact. And it's around this time that many of you have been having a similar recurring dream, and you keep seeing images that bring you back to the Citadel. And maybe I'll relink that thing and I'll put it on the stream here that I sent you before. Hold on. Here you go. Okay. Okay. That's near the Citadel, dog.
No.
Hey. What? And it was around the same time that Mystagon, who had been still living in a relatively close proximity to the ruined site of the Citadel, that you believe you had spotted that same Bellic. You weren't sure if your mind was playing tricks on you. As far as you knew, him and most of the people who were at the Citadel died in the incident. But whether by coincidence or actual happenings coming to fruition, some of your former classmates were spotted in the nearby town of Oakhurst. And when you dug into it, you uncovered that they had planned on traveling back into the Citadel ruins. And to what purpose you don't really know. All you do know is that they went down there several days ago, and have not returned. And some of these were probably dear friends of yours. There was a couple that got married not soon after leaving the Citadel, Sharwin and Hukriel. And then there was a paladin named Bradford and a ranger named Crocus that Malmos was fairly close to. The group of them had journeyed down into the ruined citadel. Um, it seems strange to you that they hadn't returned yet. That, paired with this recurring dream you've been having, led you to reach out to some of your closest friends about a week back. And it's on this day, after having regrouped with this old team of friends that you had went on many missions with, that you've all, for whatever reason, have collectively decided to go down after your old friends into the Citadel. Maybe it's to find your own answers. Maybe it's answers that you've had since the days of when you first joined the Citadel. Maybe it's because you want to see what's going on with these former classmates. Whatever the case, all the information you've collectively gathered in your journey back to this place and in the days leading up to this moment now, where you stand on the precipice of a cliff that drops down into a landing where some of the main stairs used to be. All that information seems to indicate that many strange things have been drawn to this ruined site in the past 2 decades. And it's here that we find you all standing now. So I don't know if you want to fill in any of those gaps. If you want to talk amongst yourselves as you head down into the rift that has swallowed up your former home. But here we are, up on the landing above. Yeah.
1 minute character introductions.
Please.
I don't really know what everyone else is.
Yeah, let's do that.
Thinking.
So we're walking up the stairs and
walking down, right?
Yeah. So if you imagine
walking
here,
down. Yeah.
If you imagine here this little crude map, up above, probably about 40 feet, you had to lower some ropes down that you anchored on some trees. And this is basically where you would drop down onto what used to be like a grand entrance, but has now looked like a bit of a landing. Not unlike the poster. You've got a series of like winding steps that would lead back down into the ruined citadel.
So everybody made it. I thought I would be the only one here.
Dear old friends, I'm blessed to be near you, and it's unfortunate that we meet under these circumstances, but I just really want to point out that it's so colossally stupid that Ignatius and Mistigan scheduled their weddings on the same day. If it weren't for that stupidity, I feel like it wouldn't have been so long.
I forgot about that.
Hey.
Mistigan and Ignatius.
Who's Ignatius again?
No one.
Oh no, it's
there's no one named Ignatius.
Oh, sorry.
Igneous.
Yes.
Gap was never very strong when it came to pronunciation.
-3 intelligence points.
All right. So I think just kind of as a setting, I just want to say Mr. Gunn really wants to cleanse the evil that's in the Citadel. That's how he's feeling. So he's like super intense character. He really wants to get down there. So he's like, yes, we're finally ready to go.
Interesting. I came here to learn some more, but what little I could still. I bet there's some sweet books down there. What do you guys think?
Good. Come on down. Like he'll use any tactic to get you to do his thing.
Phaedra's like thinking about all those locked rooms down below in the lower depths that she was never allowed to get into, despite as many times she tried to sneak around there.
Little fingers will
squirmy
get in
little
there this time.
squirmy little halfling bitch.
I go wherever Phaedra's pan flute goes.
I want to say I'm sympathetic to Mystic Gon's aims, but I want to try and bring some more balance to his ambition.
Okay.
Yes, I'm definitely glancing over at a gap with like, I get it, he is kind of crazy, but maybe we can do this together.
Remember, Mystigon's very charismatic,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like he's
yeah.
very persuasive.
So it's
but
like
you guys
whenever
can kind of see through it.
whenever he rarely takes the mask off, he's got like a blue steel puffy lip kind of.
Yeah. You know what I look like? Hey.
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 I'm ready to go.
Let's get down
Almost
this.
is upset because he does not. He spends all his time, or I guess I spend all my time trying to get away from the evil, the infernal, and I'm getting drawn back into the hole now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost was like, I moved to Bama thinking I could escape it, but,
And you're back.
but apparently Bama's not far enough.
Yeah, you
You're
always
back.
you always had a suspicion, Malmos, that there was something deeper and darker in the restricted areas of the Citadel. But maybe you'll find
So
out.
are you on your way down there, Malmo? Are you walking towards what the hell's your name again? Mr. Gon.
Mystigon.
Yeah, I'm falling down Mystigon because I'm ready to just start killing.
I also want Mystigon to mumble a lot. Like he's always in this warlock state of like
like you talking to someone
he's
else,
like,
and they're like, huh?
Yeah.
What'd you
Everyone's like, what? Yeah, exactly.
So as you head down, and as you carry yourselves into a potentially dangerous situation, I'm just gonna re-push the poster here. Imagine you're very much. Oh yeah. So when you see images like this, you can right and left click to draw arrows. If you want to indicate if you want to illustrate something, you can also hold Alt and do the same. If you want to be like, oh, I'm looking that way, or hold Control for a circle, or Shift for a square, and then move it around. So just little cues to help, do things.
Wait, how did you do that?
Left and right click and drag on the image.
It's dragging the image. Oh, is it because it's locked? Read only?
You trying it on the poster here?
Yeah.
Left and...
Mine says read only on mine.
Yeah, it should be read only. But
okay.
if you left and right click on the image itself and then drag, not working?
Oh, got it. I think I got it.
And then you can hold like modifier keys like Alt, Control, Shift for some of the different symbols.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna go ahead and clear that now. But yeah, so like imagine you're winding down. Some of the spaces here will be pretty limited. Like you might be able to be like 2x2 or single file at times. So what they call marching order is incredibly important to establish, like as far as like how you guys stroll around, and being descriptive about, like, okay, hold on, let me peek around this corner first, or let me make sure the ground is steady, as we head into a sort of classic bit of a dungeon crawl here. It's important that your characters would be aware of that, especially like your ranger and probably your igneous and things like that. So try to keep that in mind when describing like how you enter a room and how you examine things. Cool.
I'm just gonna always be behind Igneous.
Yeah, and I'm small and like between them both, kind of like
Yeah.
trying to dodge between Igneous's knees and yeah. How tall is Gap?
6:30.
Oh shit. Okay, so yeah, I'm definitely down there between your knees too. Malmus, how tall is Malmus?
I'm really wispy though, so I'm kind of
He's like,
I'm in between.
nothing wrong with being tall and lanky, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys can, if you want to indicate on maps, just left-click drag your token, and it will, yeah, and that'll tell me where you want to go, and then I'll be like, yes, you can do that, and then you'll
So
do it.
if you guys are lining up behind Igneous, you should be aware that he's not particularly careful. He may be alert, but he's not going to be the type to like slowly open a door and check what's on the other side. He's just going to open it.
Yeah, and you
I'm gonna hop up and
probably know
get
some of
on
his
his shoulder
personality
and
traits.
ride on Igneous' shoulder.
I think Mystagon would ask Malmos to cover our rear.
Oh yeah.
He's your ranger.
Is he the kind that would give you like a little butt pat as he nods and says sure?
I'm trying to steer Igneous and compensate for his clumsiness.
Clumsiness, nice.
But don't get too on top of him because then I can't click you.
Oh yeah.
I get the idea.
I think I'm kind of more tiptoeing somewhere in the middle, sniffing the air.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You let me just pull something up here for a moment.
How's our light situation?
That's a great question. Some of you have enhanced vision, but even with that, like dark vision means that you can kind of see with very limited light, but things are kind of black and white, and it's still easy to get tripped up. Right now, let's say it's late morning. So right now at this particular juncture on this landing, as you wind down, there is decent light, but as you look down below, it gets quite dark. Quite dark.
And who among us has the best sight?
That's a good question.
I have pretty good. Well.
So.
Yeah. How would we know that?
So basically, Gap, not great vision. Igneous, not great vision. Malmos, you've got dark vision up to 60 feet. And you can also use this to like draw. The scale's usually pretty good. Mystagon, you also have dark vision up to 60 feet.
Oof.
And Phaedra, not the greatest vision. So the two dark and mysterious ones have the better vision.
Guys,
the rest of you need either some sort of magical light or torchlight.
Are there any torches around?
Yeah, you guys would have torches.
Okay, sweet.
It'd also be like, holding a torch up in a dark spot and letting
I'm
things
holding the
around
torch
you see
while on Igneous' shoulder, lighting the path for us both.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna follow you guys down.
So should Mystagal be leading the pack, and I should be on the back end, just watching, to make sure nothing happens, like, or looking for clues for things and things.
I like that.
I'm like, you can stay back there, but no funny business.
Yeah, don't touch our butts.
Okay. All right, one sec.
As being anxious, I'm just pushing down the stairs.
It's going like looking ahead, deeper and deeper you go.
I'm patting Igneous on the butt with my lute from his.
Play it.
Yeah, ride.
Play that. Play that funky music.
Do you have chaps on?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's like dangly beads and stuff like that.
But it's a sight to see.
I got this one when I went to this one place to play some music, and I won it by playing a very sweet little ditty that went a little something like this. And then so I start playing like a little lute ditty, sitting up on your shoulder, trying to calm the mood.
I like it. Let's do
In my head, it's you started playing a lute version of a Johnny Cash song.
6 feet high and rising.
So you continue down on these narrow steps. That's really loud wind. Continue down, 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 and it's quite a ways down before you finally approach what appears to be basically an old courtyard. It looks kind of familiar, but all the shifting, everything that happened that unsettled this place, it's been so long, it's been so disturbed that it's not entirely familiar to you all anymore. It's only got like shades of remembrance, and eventually, you all make your way down and are standing in this crumbled courtyard. Just gonna pull something here.
Oh.
Cool.
Oh.
So with some of these maps and images too, you should be able to like middle click, drag around, or use this little weird button in the bottom that you can sort of left click and hold to pan, and then just zoom in and out with the mouse wheel.
Okay.
I'm gonna lock your tokens though, just so we can do ordered, structured movement. Who did I put on here? Somebody disappeared.
Okay. Someone, yeah, there.
We lost someone down the way.
I'm just not riding on it.
That halfling keeps disappearing.
Yeah. Where the hell did you come from?
Oh, hey.
He's in his pen.
Hey, you can easily hide on pretty much anyone in this group,
Yeah.
given your light halfling nature. That's mechanically true.
How do I make them smaller? Like the token smaller? Yeah, it's perfect.
Nice. So yeah, you're back in what is essentially the buried citadel. It's sunken so far down into the earth, like I said, that it's a little disorienting. It has shades of familiarity, but that's about it. The floor stretches away to the north and south. It's filled with crumbled masonry everywhere, and all around to the other sides, you just get a sense from like the wind and the lack of readability, even with the torchlight and the dark vision, that some of the edges over here and to the other side, near where the stairs came down, just fall to some unimaginable, very perilous depth. In front of you is a closed door. But other than that, you're in a pretty closed off room. Like, other than some of the openings here and closer to the stairs, you are surrounded by mostly intact walls right now. You can examine the room. You can move ahead. It's
I kinda wanna examine it.
Shining the torch around from where I am with Igneous. What can I see on the walls?
There are cracks in the walls here and there. If you like. And so here's one thing I wanna put out there, like out of story mode, that happens all the time in D&D, and just for the sake of good story and things not getting ridiculous, what you should do is like talk amongst yourselves in a situation, be like, yo, we should examine these walls, and then I would leave it to basically two people. So if there's something where like all of you could pile on and do a thing, like, yeah, let's all examine the walls, collectively make that decision on what you're gonna do, and then say, like, okay, Phaedra's gonna examine this, and Malmos is going to assist or something like that, and then Phaedra with advantage turned on might make an investigation check. Not to say that in the style of your character, you might be like, well, fuck that. My character would do this or that. That's fine. This is just a sort of soft rule to not have everyone roll investigation checks 5,000 times until they discover something. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So, Phaedra is kind of peering around the room. What's everyone else doing?
I really want to look at these mason stuff. What did you say?
So a lot of the, like crafted stone is now piles of like ruined masonry. So there's just cracks in the wall, stuff like that. But for the most part, everything in front of you leading up to this more rounded doorway is, intact structure.
Okay. What do you think? Should we start investigating the door? Should we let our big guy through there?
Big guy is opinion free, but he is happy to just barge through.
Yep, I'm comfortable just chilling with Igneous as he like rolls around through this place.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should just send him in. Just command him. Be like, hey, big
But
guy.
you should also keep in mind, like, I guess also off character, that he's not invulnerable.
He is to me.
Well, yeah, but I'm not either.
Okay. Okay. While you're poking around and discussing,
no one's gonna look around. You're just gonna big guy through.
Igneous is like,
I thought Phaedra's looking around, no?
Yeah. But I'm like still I'm only looking around insofar as where Igneous is. So
Okay.
treat us as kind of like one person right now.
Okay. Well, with advantage turned on, Phaedra, I don't know if you just toggle that little advantage button in the bottom near your dice pile, ADV. Why don't you go ahead and roll an investigation check?
Okay, so I could go over. Is that going to be an ability?
I'll be under your skills tab.
Skills. Boom. Investigation. Okay, cool. So I can pick that up, I guess?
Yeah,
Or...
and then throw it in the chat.
Yes.
Or double click it. Oh.
Nice.
Okay. As Igneous and Phaedra kind of make their way around the room, and you're all collectively like gesturing towards the door as the big rock friend approaches, Phaedra, you tug on Igneous a little bit, and over near the wall here, you notice that there's quite a large crack, and you see two glowing red eyes sort of staring at you.
Well, I definitely jump down and run back over to the closest big person.
Okay. So you've sort of spotted this thing before it's had a chance to what appeared to be like spring. It was almost like looking at you as like a nice tiny morsel. You're not sure what it is, but you hear kind of like little squeaking, hissing noises. You've all got like a split second to react as you see Phaedra kind of darting for it. So this is essentially like, imagine slow-mo bullet time Matrix where you see all this happening and you've got a quick moment to just sort of blurt out what your character would do, and then after that I'm going to tell you to roll for initiative, and then it'll be too late and this thing might already be doing stuff. So that's how it will sort of be. Give you a little leniency in this moment, since this is our first go around, to just go one by one. Like, you all sort of get a sense of this. What are your characters doing?
I'm being me more of like kind of a range magical person. I think I'm pretty comfy where I'm at, and I'm probably not going to move. And I feel great that Ignatius, even though his real name is Igneous, intelligence, I still think he's Ignatius. I'm going to stay there, and I'll say that this is probably related to my next few moves. I'd say there's a question mark in my head that says something about the red eyes to me. I'm kind of curious how much this is kind of being in my background has to do with kind of things being raised from the dead, or things related to grave, end of life, and things like that. I want to say those red eyes kind of made me curious, like how much, like basically from what realm is this from? Is this like real creature? Is it possessed? Is it?
Okay. So you reposition yourself, and you can make a perception check since you got a little bit of a jump on this thing. If you want to go to your skills tab and then roll a perception check.
You said, wait, did you say spells or skills?
Skills.
Oh,
It sounds like you're just trying to like look and perceive. So
Yeah.
if you ever want to do something more specific, go for it. But I'll try to translate your words into mechanic.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so I see that. Now I wanna. What do I wanna roll for
So
that?
where it says +4, you can drag that off and then throw it into the chat to roll, or double click it if you're a lazy bitch.
Wait, I'm not seeing. Where's the +4?
So perception says wisdom. There's a blank box and then a +4
I'm not
in
seeing
the box on your skills tab.
I just see a readout. I'm not actually. Oh, maybe I just need to drag this thing out more. No, I'm not seeing.
Share your screen. We'll do this. We'll do this thing.
Do you have to click on that thing on the side, the tab, the buttons?
Yeah.
There's
So-
a skills thing.
So it says a skills tab. There's the columns. It says
Yeah,
name,
when I
stat.
click on perception, oops, I just fucked up my screen.
No,
When I click
don't-
on perception, it just loads up like an info dialog.
Not the button, like the circle. See where the number is? It says +4 is a little mini dice icon in the bottom left of that box.
The bottom left of that box. No.
Here, I'll show you on Jambot screen. So you see hopefully it's clear enough. See how I got the skill sheet open for the watcher here? And he's got
I totally have a different screen here.
double click on Jambot screen share.
Yeah. No, I'm looking. I see your screen.
So
And
Oh,
you
Ian,
just-
click
you're
on your
wrong
guy
tab.
at the top.
clicking on
And
my
then
guy.
there's- Click on your face, and then there's little tabs going along the edge.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the.
Yeah.
I was clicking on the skills on the right side of the screen.
Okay, yeah, that's just like the encyclopedia rulebook version of it. This is your
Yeah,
version.
okay.
All right, it's all right. We're getting there.
All right. Now right click the button. The +4.
Yeah, so you can drag off and hold it, and that's like you get the dice in your hand, and then you throw it in the chat room, or you can double click it if you're lame.
How was that?
You got to make sure it goes in the chat box, or it won't show up and it won't count.
Oops. Oh man, it was a good roll. It was a 15.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Didn't count. Off the table.
Did that not work?
Nope. Just double click it, I guess. Just double click it. Yeah? No?
Holy shit! Sorry, this is unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah! Yeah! Oh my god!
Oh my! Holy shit!
You step
Wow,
back
you
and immediately
perceived everything.
smell the rotten decay emanating off of this thing, and it's very clear to you that this is a gigantic fucking rat. It's a giant rat. I don't know what you do with that information.
Do rats speak, or do they know anything?
No, they're rats.
Not unless you talk to animals, but Gap actually, you've got speech of beast and leaf. You have the ability to communicate in a limited manner with beasts and plants. They can understand the meaning of your words. Though you have no special ability to understand them in return, you basically get an advantage on charisma checks to make and to influence them.
All right, can I do this round, or is that the next?
That'd be something you could try. But, bearing in mind, Gap, despite his potentially friendly or maybe not friendly nature, you'd probably know that a hissing gigantic rat living in the bowels of a sunken citadel would be pretty hard to turn friendly. But hey, you never know. All right, so let's go down the line here. Mystagon, what are you doing, buddy?
I think my first reaction would be an intimidation kind of thing.
Okay.
Like I look over and I just kind of,
Okay.
I think of like a Goku, like
You
shit's
like
flying around me.
you
Like
like- you hiss back at it.
what's the yeah. I give it the eye. The old
Okay.
eye.
Yeah, you have the intimidation skill, which think of these things as abstracts that just play into that idea. So yeah, you fucking just glare back at the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, make an intimidation check for me.
Here you go. Wow.
Oh damn. You just fucking start hissing at this thing. You see the red eyes kind of like blink and wink out. It's feeling a little more precious about maybe coming out of its home at this particular moment. Igneous, what are you doing?
We just do the same thing. I don't think
Okay.
Igneous would intimidate, but he wouldn't do much else.
You just stand there, standing and
Yeah.
waiting.
Yeah, I mean, he would like ready himself for battle, but he wouldn't think beyond like, I'm going to smash this thing.
Okay. Malmos?
I had something in mind, but I don't know if it makes sense now. So I was thinking maybe I could use my rope that I carry as the lasso and capture the creature, because I thought maybe we could communicate or find out something from it.
You could try stuff like that. Like you'd want to. So I mean, the way whenever time slows down in like games like this, and each of you get a turn in what they call like the initiative order, it's supposed to be all of you acting in almost parallel time, like in a 6-second slice of time. So like one round of combat is like a 6-second window where you're all like, I see a rat, I hiss at it, I stand there, or I pull out my rope. So like if that's something that's inherent in your character, where you think you would have like a lassoed rope or things like that ready to go, you could try to wrangle something like that. Usually it'd be pretty hard to do on like a running active creature. But like trying to lay a trap is something that you could do like outside of like the slow-mo mode of combat. Doing it in the middle of it would certainly be a lot more challenging, but maybe like once you subdued the thing, you could like tie it up instead of killing it outright.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
you can always.
Can I just?
I just want to say,
Yeah,
like, in general, like, the motto is you can always try. So I'm a big fan of just creative stuff out there and then trying to find what the rules would do to interpret that. But sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think for mine, I would just protect Phaedra, because Phaedra, had that jump
Okay.
to be. So maybe
So
I'll like
you kinda, like,
guard,
shuffle
like
in
block
front.
her or him. Sorry.
Okay.
Her. It's a lady.
Okay.
Oh, it's a lady. Okay.
All right.
She's a lady.
And last but not least, Phaedra.
Okay, so I have a move to make. I'm good staying kind of behind it. Definitely holding the torch towards it. It's not moving, right?
It looks like the eyes got a little bit smaller, as if it backed away into its little home or hole there. The
I'm fine
crack
with
is
that.
wide enough that you could fit through it, but
No.
I don't know if that's what you want.
No! There's no rat.
Just saying.
My cousin got done by a rat.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, that was a very soft introduction into a round. The rat, from the incredible intimidation of the enormous stature of Igneous and the sinister but forceful glare of Igneous, or sorry, of Mystagon, has forced this rat to scurry away back into the hole. Again, the opening is fairly large, but as far as you can tell, it presents no present danger as the rat appears to have backed off. Standing before you now is the crack entrance into the rat's home or pathway and this still closed door. How do you want to proceed?
Is it like totally empty on, north and south of us? Like these walls could be going on for a while?
Yeah, exactly. So, like these walls are, in some spots like almost 20 feet high, but based on like the destruction in the ruin, they kind of like vary and are cracked and formed. But for at least about 8 feet of height, other than the large crack where the rat came from and the stairs that you came down, it's largely like an enclosed, open roof, like rubbled home almost.
So I don't see anything like over here.
No, and like if you were to go back like over here and kind of look out where the stairs came down, again, that's sort of where I was describing this area around it, other than being propped up and supported by some sort of like natural cavernous structure, looked like it dropped off into the nothing forever. Like the way things were echoed and the way the wind was blowing, whatever cause a citadel to drop down and settle on this place, it still feels like it's largely surrounded by you don't know, depths of an unknowable distance.
I think Mystagon wants to investigate this crack a bit more.
Oh, yeah, you want to get up in that crack?
I'm in it.
Okay. How close are you getting? And are you said one of you guys has a torch lit as you were coming down here? Is that accurate?
Phaedra does, yeah.
Okay.
But I have dark sight or something.
You have dark vision, right? So what that means is because there is a light source, like that's giving you enough. No, that's giving you enough to like activate and see because of the dim light. Okay. So as you approach the crack where the rat went through, you can basically make an investigation check.
Okay.
And look a bit more closely.
Oh God.
God, the angle of it just bends and turns so much that you can't really tell too much. You do see a few piles of rat droppings that indicate that this is a very common pathway for the creature. And based on the air, although a bit odorous from the droppings, you get a sense that it leads to another very likely larger chamber. You can't really discern too much more than that.
And from your description, could it be like I'm saying this to the group?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if I ever describe something that your character discovers, all you need to do is basically do what you just did there and just say like, I'm conveying this to the group. If you don't want to share that information, like let's just say unless you say that, I'll assume that you are just thinking this and have not shared it yet.
Okay. Yeah, conveying to the group and also advocating that we should just open the door.
I like doors better than small crawl spaces.
Yeah.
It's probably opening up into the same space anyways.
Could be. So, like, there will be a constant back and forth while I'll try to keep things moving, but times like this, the ball's in your court. The dice are in your hands. So all you have to do is just say, Igneous is moving ahead and opening the door, if that's what you want.
Hey, can you open that door, Igneous?
I'm gonna glance at Phaedra and see if he look for like a nod that he approves.
Yeah, definitely nod.
All right.
It's just a rat, by the way.
Yeah. Yo.
All right. Then I guess I will go to the door and attempt to open it.
Okay. All right. you go up to the door, and it's a it's a pretty sturdy looking door, despite all the other rubble around you here. It's got just like a normal door handle, like a latch and a keyhole on it. You reach and pull on it, and it feels a bit stuck. But you know, in your hands, you feel like you could probably just pull this fucking thing open.
Yeah, so can I try to just bust it?
Yeah, why don't you make a strength check for me?
Hey Jay, will you push that map back over, Citadel?
I got you, dog.
Thank you.
Yeah. You kind of whittle it for a little bit, you know, Phaedra. You're getting a sense that Igneous is struggling for a moment. It kind of makes you just smirk and smile a little bit, but after a couple tugs, just you pull that whole fucking door open.
I go, attaboy. Attaboy.
Loading, please wait.
Oh. I'm like peeking through Igneous's legs at this space. What are we seeing here?
So, as you open the door, and you already kind of got a sense of this from the shape of the outer wall, but this appears to be like the circular formation of some sort of tower shell, you know, so like you're the inside of some former tower. Uh, the floor here is kind of cobbled with cracked granite, and there are sprawled out on the ground the bodies of 4 small goblins who appear to have been slain in some sort of combat. One of the corpses stands with its back against the western wall. The spear that apparently killed it, still skewering and holding it upright, pinned against one of like the crevices of the stone in the wall. There are 3 wooden doors that lead from this area. One of them you just came through, one to the northwest, and one to the southwest. Let me just make that a little more clear on the map there. There's again, it's kind of like a hollow tower filled with more loose masonry debris on the ground. You feel like it goes about 30 feet up before some sort of roof-like structure it could be seen. And the stairs that would have probably led up and spiraled around on the inner shell of this tower appear to be gone, very likely making up most of the rubble and debris here. This is all, again, just sort of like your first initial collective glance inside this room.
All right, so I guess Igneous would walk towards the closest dead goblin to investigate.
Yeah, I'm sticking right with Igneous.
Okay. Please indicate where you're going. So there's one on the wall, and then the other ones are kind of just more around on the floor for the most part. Oh, Mystigon slinks past you.
How do I indicate?
Just left click and drag your token, and then when you, like, let's say you start to drag one way, you can then left click on the little nub at the end and do like a more complicated path to show, and that indicates the distance traveled based on the grid.
Okay.
If you ever want to like undo that, you can just middle click, or I think it's middle or left click, and then just leave it right on top of your guy. Malmos and Gap. Guys lingering in the original room in the courtyard. Are you
staring at each other, talking?
So is a rat. Huh? Malmos is fashioning a noose with his rope.
Where's that rat?
Yo, we could put it outside the hole.
Could have some dinner later. So I'm curious if these goblins were all together, or did they know each other? Is there something left behind or on their bodies that we could use
Did they kill each other? Did something kill them? Was this the former Citadel friends who allegedly came down here? Did they kill it? So many questions running through your minds.
How did goblins get in the Citadel? What's going on here? What does this room look familiar to anyone else? Do I remember? Yeah, and the table speak. Do I recognize like where I am in the Citadel?
Yeah, and that's, you can always do that, right? Like, you know, obviously your characters, especially as we just start playing and you get more familiar with the world and the setting and who your characters are, like, your characters might know more than you, the player, knows. So, by all means, you can say, like, you know, hey, would Phaedra remember this place, or is any of this familiar, or would Phaedra recognize these goblins, anything like that, you know, so it's fair game. So to answer that question, Phaedra, you have I think most of this place has a vague familiarity to it. Like, you recall passing through this tower. You do think that there were several towers like this that had spiral stairs that led up to upper levels where a lot of the like alchemy labs were, and some of the more component-based magic users did their research. You're not entirely sure if this is exactly one of those towers, but it could be. And then what's everybody else doing?
Does he convey that?
Oh, we lost your mic there, Luke. I don't know what happened.
Oops, my bad. Yeah, so I would be like, okay, yeah, we got a bunch of like magic stuff in the spire. I think maybe back down we can get to the library though. Come on, big boy, let's do this thing.
Yeah, I would be like, let's keep pushing on.
Well, I think I would be looking at the goblins, trying to suss out if like any clues about who might have killed them.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
curious about that too. Whether they
Yeah, this is definitely a serious matter.
But
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still.
Would there have been
curious.
any security, like who would know something about this that would be like in charge of the Citadel, and we would be like, dude, let's go over to their office. Let's go to the principal's office.
I mean, the
Also, is it? Would it be surprising to us if goblins were just hanging out? Like
not at all. So, like, I mean, one thing that Mystigon very likely conveyed was that in the let's just say 2 decades, for lack of too much detail, that the Citadel's incident occurred, many things were drawn to this pretty powerful magic site, and it's very common for like goblins, kobolds, other sort of small nefarious creatures to be drawn to sites like that and sort of build homes. Like goblin tribes moving into like a ruined whatever would be a pretty.
So they look. Does it look like they were like raiders, or if they were like squatters?
So it's hard to tell that outright. What you could do is investigate the bodies a bit more. The other thing that's a pretty common sort of dungeon crawl thing to do is think of like let me just push this out to you. Think of investigation as.
I'm gonna scope out that body.
Okay, investigation is more looking at the things and trying to come to some sort of deduction based on that information, like to determine if there's something hidden in the crack that you spotted, blah blah blah. But then perception is more just like taking it all in and trying to actually like spot something that might be hard to see or slightly obscured, or like noticing that, oh, there's actually another door that's kind of partially covered by this moss here, that kind of stuff. So as you again, like, you don't have to think in terms of like, I want to use that skill, I hate that shit. Just think of it more of like what you're already doing, which is, you know, like, I want to feel out this wall or check out these bodies and see if I recognize anything. So I'll try to turn off tutorial mode as soon as I can, but hopefully some of this is helpful.
It's really helpful.
Yeah. So sorry, just to circle back and I have me listen more intently. Phaedra and Gap, you guys, or Igneous, you guys are looking at the bodies a bit more closely.
Yep.
Okay. Why don't you do so one of you can take point, and with advantage, roll an investigation check. Out of the two
I
of
can
you.
do that.
Should be not me.
Yeah, I got it. Hold on. So
you prop up the body, and Phaedra kind of like looks around all the nooks and crannies. Got my Run D&D shirt on, bitch. Oh, natural one. Woo! Wait, that's not with advantage though, right? You get to roll. You get to roll one more. So advantage means you. Well, you don't get to roll
There we go.
3 times.
Well, the one is I get to re-roll, right?
Oh, you're right. Actually, yeah. You've got halfling luck, you little bastard. Whenever you roll a natural 1 on an attack, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can re-roll that die, but must use the new roll. That's crazy shit. That's crazy shit. Okay. 17. As the large one and the little one examine at least the 3 bodies that are on the ground. Again, there's still one physically pinned by a spear to the wall. It's clear that the bodies have been looted. Like if they had any weapons, if they had any coins, food, all gone. Someone's picked them clean. Beyond that, the corpses appear to have been dead for quite a while. Possibly a week or more, and they have bites in them, and you're not super familiar with what exactly the bites are, but you're pretty sure your ranger buddy might know. But something's been feeding on these bodies.
Okay. Definitely asking Malmos. Malmos, what did this?
Am I supposed to say what I think, or just ask, or somehow come to the deduction through?
So like I would take it from the angle of like again depending on your comfort level, you can just role play your character in the first person, or you can do the other thing where you feel like you're controlling a thing and just describe what your character would do. You could say like, oh, Malmos would go over there and start examining the bodies and try to get them an answer, and then I would say, oh, okay, why don't you go ahead and you roll like a survival check or an investigation check on your own depending on what the thing is.
Okay. So, thanks for thinking of me, guys. I'm gonna check out the bite marks and see, because I've got some experience with what types of bites are coming from different creatures. So, let me take a look.
Okay. You kind of stride over, and survival is very much like your ability to track, hunt wild game, guide your group through different terrains. In this case, I kind of like it as the thing that you roll against, because it's so based on sort of understanding. Actually, I lie. No, let's do survival. Roll a survival check for me.
Okay.
It's very subjective sometimes what skill we interpret a thing for, but so if you go to your skill tab and then grab the survival off that.
Oh, okay, I see.
So again, you can drag off like the total box where you see like the minus, plus, and number, and then roll and throw that in the chat, or just double click it.
Did it come through?
No, it has to go into the chat box to count.
Oh, all right.
I'm gonna go grab Gap's hand and drag him in.
Okay. He's still there, like just sort of pondering and studying.
Drooling.
Malmos, it's pretty clear to you that very large, abnormally large rats, though not uncommon in the lower depths of the earth, giant rats have been feeding on these goblins. You'd be surprised if it was solely just one rat, considering the amount of goblin meat that's been chewed off the bone. While studying them, you look up at the goblin that's pinned on the west wall and notice that, at least at a cursory glance, that one has not been fed upon.
Okay, guys. So communicate that to the group. It seems like the giant rats aren't what killed these goblins. Something else killed them, but they were just consumed because they were a source of food.
I bet it was that giant freaking rat I saw.
Well, we think that maybe they didn't kill them, but they just
Ate them? That's disgusting. I hate rats.
Yeah, because there's one of them's pinned to the wall, and the rat couldn't get up there, and
I don't know. It was pretty big. He might have been able to get that spear into him.
Spear wielding rat.
So what do you think? What do you think got that guy? Let's go check him out.
And Mystagon says that that's the true evil that we need, not the rats.
Hey.
I don't care about the rats.
Is somebody in the group expert on like tooling, or like could they determine if this the spear was from a certain background?
I got no idea.
Mystagon, you do feel a strange sort of. You just get a weird vibe from that pinned goblin. It's kind of skeeving you out a little bit, man.
Yeah. Then I want to take a look.
Oh, okay.
I wanna take a look.
Yeah.
What's giving me this vibe? But I don't want to tell anyone.
Okay. Okay. So while
no one knows.
While they're exploring the bodies on the ground, you let that vibe pull you closer.
Yeah, I want to get closer
and closer. And you kind of feel on the wall behind the goblin, and as you touch the stone, you get a weird sensation, and you kind of feel like as your fingers trace the wall, some sort of strange symbol has been burned in or etched in behind the body. You'd probably have to take it down to get a real clear look at it.
I hope
there's
pull it down.
there.
I'm really interested.
You didn't see Mystagon do this yet. Actually, why don't you make a perception check? He was doing this while you and Igneous were exploring the bodies originally. It's just like sometimes we'll jump around in time, do things in parallel.
Damn it! I can barely see what's going on over there.
Mystagon was just being Mystagon, kind of like walking around the room a little bit. But yeah, you would need someone strong to lift this goblin off the wall.
Wait, that's really, over by the body?
This is the pinned that red circles indicates.
Yeah. When Malmos mentioned that the rats didn't kill him, couldn't do a spear. I was walking over here.
Yeah. So that's around the same time that Mystagon had just started walking away from the body. And finish that initial glance.
Right, then I'm like, you see anything interesting over there?
I want to tell Phaedra to bring her hoe over.
Okay. You mean big boy? Okay, got it.
Hey.
All right, then I'll follow.
Okay. Good boy. Yeah. You see Mystagon kind of standing nearby with a slightly higher than usual interest at your corpse investigation. Malmos, obviously, you rightly pointed out that this pinned one didn't appear to be fed upon. So, what exactly are you doing? You're telling Big Boy to go check it out, take the body off the wall. I need specifics.
I just gotta nod towards Igneous to look at Mystagon, like do whatever, help this one out.
And I suggest, I was like, hey, I think we should move this body. What do you think? All charismatic, like.
Hey.
All charismatic.
You want to move this body?
What are your thoughts?
Where do you want this body?
Just away from this wall.
I mean, guys, I could possibly bring it back from the dead and interrogate it if you want.
Maybe. But let's see what's behind this thing first.
Sure, I'll bite.
Whoa, my persuasion.
Isn't it my choice whether?
Yeah.
My God, you want to bring it back to life? That's crazy. What do you think this thing could know?
Yeah, I guess I'll pick the thing up.
Okay. Okay. All right. You go up there. You grab the body. It's very light to you. It's just this little toddler-sized or Phaedra-sized goblin corpse. It's obviously a bit rotted and decayed, but still mostly intact. Um, as you lift it off, I mean, you have to kind of pluck the spear out first and then put it down. But now you've got yourself one goblin body and one spear. As somebody's mic is giving
Sloshing.
some hot slosh.
Oh yeah, that's Yosh. Sorry, I'll mute real quick.
Okay. So as you pull it down, there is almost like charred into the wall behind the body, a rune that is written in some distant language, and anyone who speaks Infernal recognizes what it spells. Let me just do.
I speak Infernal.
I speak Infernal.
Ooh,
So
let's do it.
anyone who speaks Infernal sees this.
Can Mr. Gun say it out loud as you type?
Yeah, go for it. That's up to you.
Yeah. What the hell?
Say it.
Oh, that's the god, right?
You don't know that name.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you see?
I don't know how to say that Infernal, but Ashardalon.
He's kind of tracing. You just say, "Ashardalon."
What is this? What is this script? Is that like a real language?
What does it mean? What
I
does
know.
what does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't speak that.
Do I know? Does Mr. Gun know
Do you
what
know?
this means?
Do you know what it means? No. You know that it's infernal, and by the feeling you got, you feel like it might be demonic in nature. But beyond that, you don't know the name. It could be 1,000 things. It could be a god. It could be a servant. It could be a spell. You don't really know.
I wanna say to the group, could this be what we're trying? Why the Citadel went into the rift? I want to pose that question.
Because it's some infernal thing? What do you mean, like,
Ashardalon.
Ashardalon. Shashardalon.
Are you saying that the
Can I roll
rift is...
for insight? Is that a thing?
You could, yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm just refilling my coffee. Talk amongst yourselves, though.
Maybe
get
maybe it's a key to open it.
Not a lot. Can we make more?
We need a key?
Maybe
That's what's going
a
on?
little bit.
I don't know.
You don't necessarily need a key. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, Park.
Can we remove this rune from the wall?
No, it's definitely like burned into the stone, which in itself should be a little bit strange.
And I've touched this thing, right?
You have, and you felt like a tinge of darkness kind of creep into you. It almost made you want to pull your hand back after you traced it, but you couldn't quite pull away. You had to finish tracing it, and then it was like, oh, what?
Ashardalon.
A Shardalon.
Okay.
Gap, while you're back there in your ponderous, lanky affair, after being pulled in by Phaedra, you're kind of taking it all in. You see your comrades examining goblinoid bodies, and they're all huddled around where you see Igneous pulling a speared goblin off the wall, and everyone stands around. You hear the word Shardalon, but what overcomes you more than anything is your inherent sort of connection to the dead, and your spider senses, or in this case your grave senses, tingle a bit. And immediately to the south of you, despite there not being any doors or any visible rooms, you get a sense that there are lost souls trapped nearby. You don't know more than that, but like this sense has never been wrong. Occasionally you just know that there is something caught between the realms of the living and the dead in your presence, essentially.
I want to convey that to the group. Like, dearest gentlemen, my grave senses are tingling. I'm never wrong on that. I have an idea about the general direction, but that's all I know.
Okay.
Heads up. I want to investigate this south wall.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Something getting to me.
Okay. So you kind of follow your nose, toucan
Mr.
Sam
Gunn,
style.
you done looking at the body? You saw all you needed to over there?
Yeah, because Gap has conveyed this need in which
You're more interested in that?
I'm more interested in that now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And as you all head over to that, Igneous, you're left holding the bag, as it were, or in this case, the goblin body. And you notice strapped to the back of the creature is a small shield and a scimitar, just a curved sword blade. There's also tucked inside its leather tunic a small, gross pouch, but it feels like there's a few coins in it.
Walk with 1 second. You push the extra.
You can leave that on the body as you set it down, or pilfer it if you like.
Just a
There's,
second,
like,
guys. I'll get her going.
Holding, toss the little dude to the ground and then grab his coins.
Okay. You find 4 gold coins in that pouch. Gap, you start investigating the wall. Just give me 1 second here, please.
Solid masonry work.
Solid masonry work. Go ahead.
Have any sense of like, based on my hunch of where we are in the Citadel?
Yeah.
Have any sense of what I think is like on the other side of this wall, or like is it like Dumbledore's headquarters or something?
You're not really sure. Like you've never. I mean, you always suspected there were like secret rooms and corridors and stuff like that, but you youngins never got into the top secret. I'm gonna mute Bobby for a minute until he's back. Hello. Yeah, you never became aware of the actual presence or locations of things like that in the Citadel. But you always suspected. I mean, come on. So as you approach this thing, your senses are telling you that something is beyond this wall, but you don't see where a door could be, and that's where you might need to make a very solid investigation or perception check. And you can phone a friend and try to ask for help, and in that case, I'd give you advantage on the check.
What do you mean by phone a friend?
So basically, like what I was saying earlier is you never want these games, out of character to devolve into I checked the door. Oh no, I checked the door, and then I'm checking the door too. Oh, I'm gonna check the door too. It just gets ridiculous and stupid in terms of like the narrative. So what I was saying is, like if you discovered the thing narratively, then you can ask for help from one of your party members, and then you would get advantage on the roll. There's a little button that says ADV in the bottom left of the game window. You turn that on, and then you make the check, and basically it rolls the dice twice and gives you the best result. Cool. Sometimes it might be 2 shitty rolls, or it might be 2 good ones, but basically it's just to abstractly say that you're collaborating a bit and got some help. So,
I'm going to say, from the look of it, it looks like Mystigon is up my ass right now. Like, what's this? That's the impression I'm getting right now. So I'll be like, You're looking over my shoulder. You wanna do a little tag team here?
Yeah, let's tag team this. I
Okay.
want to get to the bottom of this.
Okay. The two of you approach where your senses were tingling here, Gap. So with advantage, Gap, why don't you go ahead and let's see what's better for you. You your perception is definitely better than your investigation. So let's just say you're like really trying to study the wall. Go ahead and make a perception check with advantage turned on.
How do I turn that on?
So there's a little ADV button in the bottom left. This guy.
So if I have that on and I grab from the skills,
Yep.
Perception, it's fine. Okay.
It'll automatically roll with advantage. Yes. So it's like a little it's like a little toggle button.
When do you not use advantage?
You rarely do on like more combat things and stuff like that, but for stuff like this where you're helping each other, you get advantage. So in this case, Gap would have rolled a 7, but thanks to the help from Mystagon, you got an 18. So you with a 22, just managed to find where this secret door, was kind of expertly crafted into the wall. Now, basically, there's a block that serves as a lever, where if you push it in and then continue pushing, the door rotates on like an axis to the left side.
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Okay, so Gap, you're grabbing and pulling the lever out and then pushing it in.
Yep.
Okay. As you touch the stone and begin manipulating it to force the door, you very, very, like, again, like in micro slow-mo time, hear a click. And you immediately think it's probably not a good click. I need you, on your main tab of your character sheet, to make under the saves column on the far right, a dexterity saving throw. So again, saving throws are very defensive things, and dexterity is like how fast you react to, like, oh shit, dodge the fireball, or in this case, oh shit, some sort of needle trap just sprung when I pushed the stone block in.
So which one do I roll on saves?
Dex for dexterity.
Yeah. Okay.
You do not get inspiration for this. Just a normal roll. Oh. You immediately feel a piercing sensation as the trap punches in to your finger.
Ooh.
It's a stabbing sensation. Doesn't feel super great.
Oh damn! You okay, buddy?
Yeah. My Gap.
It's not abysmal. You only take 1 point of damage, but you're looking a little less bright green on your guy there. Despite that, you do manage to open the door. I'll just go ahead and load something real quick here. And gnawing and scurrying around inside is a giant rat.
This fucking rat.
Littered amongst several bodies. Sorry, one sec. It looks to be like, so at immediate glance, as like Gap kind of like, I don't know, screams or maybe doesn't react at all and pushes the door, you hear and see this like little scurrying rat. And then littered amongst the walls here are again what appear to be 3 long dead skeletons slumped against what appear to be arrow slits that maybe once looked out over, the landscape before this thing was buried in the earth. So almost like slumped against the arrow slits, as if they were like archers or something. These bodies just remain as if they died in that position. I need you all to roll initiative.
Oh.
Every last one of you. So again, that's just on your main tab there, that in the middle, that in it.
Wait, I'm not seeing in it.
So main tab is right next to the AC shield icon. And for you, it looks like a +1.
See it? Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah, you'll get familiar with the lay
Damn,
of the land in the
Phaedra?
sheet.
Ooh.
Wait, what am I doing?
Rolling initiative on the main tab of your character sheet.
We about to fight.
My base right now on all
Ooh.
the tabs is called
Oh, damn. Okay. Okay. So this is where now, instead of like just loosely going around the room, your reaction time has fed into like this slow-mo 6-second slice of time, right? Each round 6 seconds. Malmos in this case is fucking like firing on all cylinders with that adrenaline. He heard that rat. That rat's back again. He's back again.
You got no time for rope.
You got no time for this. And Gap, I'll give you, since you kind of spider sensed all of this, you know that something's not right here. You sense this shit. It wasn't the rat, but standing in these window, very static at the moment, are 3 skeleton bodies.
Oh shit.
You see this shit as the person who opened the door and had the spider senses going off.
You seeing this shit?
2 plus 2 equals undead skeletons in your mind. So do with that what you will. But Malmos, you're up. Gap. I'll give you one free moment if you want to convey any information.
Yeah, I just want to convey quickly. Basically,
Oh god, we're all dead.
yeah, the old undead. BT dubs, undead. And that's it.
Hey, by the way.
Hey. Yeah.
Undead. Undead.
Okay.
Okay. My first instinct.
I'm gonna get behind Ignatius as far away from all this shit as I can.
Okay. Wait for your turn. We're in turn order now. Malmos.
This isn't the 6 seconds.
No,
Okay.
we're in turn order. Gap just got a freebie because he sprung this shit.
I gotcha.
Can we use any magic against these skeletons?
Oh, I mean, maybe. Right now they're dormant as far as you can tell. And then
okay.
And then your magic at the moment is you've got one little cantrip from your tiefling bloodline. Beyond that, you've got your swords and your bow. I will need to know, like, as you, and you can say that, like, I'm drawing this as part of your turn without really any penalty. But like switching weapons would take time if you already had something else out. So, like, are you stepping into position with your bow drawn? Are you fucking knocking an arrow right now? Are you getting your blades out? What are you doing, Dom?
I would say I would get my blades out because I don't think the bow would do anything against
You
these
mute.
weapons.
I don't know.
Oh, you muted him, I think, Luke, because your mic was going off earlier. I unmuted him. You might have to manually unmute Bobby. So you got your blades out, and are you holding your ground, or are you stepping into this very small pocket room with a rat and 3 bodies in it?
I think I'll step in there.
Oh, okay. All right, so you can, on your turn, so basically the way your 6-second window for each of you in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, if you think of it like, if there was a user interface for it, it'd be great, but think of it like this. On every turn, in any order, you can take several types of actions, and actions take different moments of time. So if you read a spell description, it says, oh, this is a bonus action. It's a very quick little thing. So sometimes, like, I think in the case of Ian with Gap, there's like Cure Wounds or there's Healing Word. Cure Wounds is a full action spell, heals for more, takes more time, but I think Healing Word's like a bonus action, which means he could still do a spell and then still do a normal full action chain. I don't know if you're talking to us or if you're muted.
Oh, no, I was talking to Britt. Sorry.
It's okay. I just want to make sure. I saw your mouth moving a lot. So basically, again, to try to break this down, you get a move action on your turn, you get a bonus action, and then you get a standard action. That's the main shit. There's a bonus category called a reaction, and some abilities and some spells are reactive. So there's like a shield spell or something like that, and that means once per round you can react as well. Not many things go into the reaction category, but for like you fighter types, if you're engaged with someone and they try to like run away from you, as a reaction you get like a 1 free single swing of your weapon at them. Most normal turns are like I'm gonna move in some order, and then I'm gonna cast a spell or attack. That's most stuff. There's a lot of other shit that we'll get into later that can add layers of depth and strategy to that, but for the most part, that's what it is. So for you, Malmos, your base movement speed is 30 feet, and you have 2 swords in your hand. Now, because you're a 2-weapon fighter right now, your offhand attack is a bonus action. So you can move 10 feet, and then attack, and then move 20 feet. But again, once you engage with someone, moving away from them, unless you take like a defensive retreat, would give them a free attack against you. So we can break all that stuff down. It gets way, way simple once you get a little familiar with it. But at the core of it all you have to tell me is like, I want to move into the room and attack that rat, or I want to move into that room and just sort of hold the line defensively and wait for something to happen.
Yeah, I think I just want to move in there and wait to see if something happens.
Okay, cool. So the moment you cross the threshold with your 2 blades drawn, all 3 skeletons against the window just start like kind of animating and coming to life. It was like almost as if it was some sort of trigger, but like truly immediately, all 3 come around, and the rat scurries around you in like almost a reaction in itself, and you are pretty quickly surrounded in a small pocket room by 4 creatures. You still have your blades out. None of them have attacked you yet. You've only moved about 10 feet. If you wanted to, you could try to basically reactively back up a little bit or take your attack action. What
is backing up do for me?
Backing up for you would allow you to not be the only reachable target for 4 potential enemies on their turn.
Okay.
I mean, Malmos the character would probably find this to be an undesirable situation. Unless you're like fucking frenzied and like want to just start eradicating these abominations on nature, which maybe your ranger is all about. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's his thing. So I'll use my turn just to back out of the room.
Okay. If you want to indicate by moving your token, just like approximately where you're moving to.
Okay.
Just right past the threshold?
Yeah.
Okay. And you can always kind of move through and past friendly tokens, but you can't be on top of each other, essentially, right? Okay. So, Phaedra, you see Malmos step into the pocket room and immediately, like, trigger these creatures that Gap assumed probably had some undead necromancy going on here. What are you doing? Phaedra? Can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm backing away behind Ignatius, and then like kind of pulling Ignatius back with me, like, or at least trying to anyway. Maybe not getting maybe I'm not even able to do that. So.
Yeah, you tug on him a little bit, but
Yeah.
he doesn't really budge too much.
Yeah, that, and then I guess I'm yeah. That's pretty much all I'm
Okay.
doing, I think.
So
Yeah.
I mean, there's just things like, as far as non-combatants go, you can take a defensive action, which means like enemies have disadvantage when they attack you. It's the opposite of when I say roll with advantage. It means they roll twice and get the shittier roll. So there's lots of
I'm
defensive
doing
things
that.
you can do.
Yeah.
You can also just say like, I want to hold my action, and then you can you'd lower in the turn order for the rest of the encounter.
Sure.
But yeah, all right. So you're holding there. You're being defensive.
I'll do defensive. Yeah, defensive.
Mr. Gone, what are you doing? Oh, can't hear you. Hello?
I forgot what Ian was saying, or Gap was saying about feeling of this room.
So
What was that?
he was just sensing, and you probably know this from some of your excursions back in the day with him, but he's always had a strange attunement to the world, or the realms of the dead and the living, almost kind of walking and straddling both of them. And this is one of those moments where you've seen before, where his sort of his grave senses were tingling, and he got a sense that there were some trapped souls in this room. And sure enough, as soon as Malmo strided past all of you upon hearing this, the 3 skeleton bodies looking out over what appeared to be arrow slits at one time immediately started like kind of coming to life and animating, and the giant rat sort of scurried off into the other corner. So you're now looking into a pocket room filled with 3 skeleton archers and a large giant rat.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Mr. Gon just instantly gets fucking pissed. I mean, he gets enraged by seeing this.
Yeah.
So, can I take a couple steps in and still get a full action?
Yeah. So basically, there is actually, now you mentioned, there's something called like a full attack action, which consumes everything. But for you, I believe most stuff is either going to be what's called like an action, or in most cases a standard action, and a move action. And you can break up your move, so you can move, do an action, and then still use whatever movement you have left.
All right, let's see what I have left, because I want to move in.
Uh-huh.
I want to fucking attack. I want to use my arms of Hadar. Hadar.
Oh. Okay. Let's see what that shit does. You invoke the power of Hadar, the Dark Hunger. Tendrils of dark energy erupt from you and batter all creatures within 10 feet of you. Each creature in that area must make a strength saving throw, and on a fail, they take 2d6 necrotic damage. Interesting.
Wow.
On a successful
While I'm
save,
doing
they
this,
still
I
take
want to say, I'm going to kill you.
Okay. So here's the
Do it
deal.
in deep speak.
Here's the deal.
In deep speak.
So you can do this, but basically, once you get close enough to melee range and do any kind of attack, whether it's with a weapon or a spell, and you're within melee range, you're within like the reach of their weapons, you can move in and you can move out. But as you move out, each creature would get a potential attack of opportunity.
Okay.
They'd still have to hit you, but with this spell, the one thing that it does, which is crazy, is that if your arms of Hadar actually succeed in clinging and wrapping around them, they can't react, which means they do not get to make that attack of opportunity at all. So you basically like go in and you're just like BAM! But if some of them make the strength saving throw, they'll still take partial damage, and they do get the attack. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool use of the spell. Okay. All right. So, let me try something here real quick.
The gun ain't scared.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna talk in Infernal.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh.
Oh god, I spelled kill wrong.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, there's other ways I can do this, but for now I'm just gonna manually do like a strength saving throw for each of these guys. So the first skeleton
Oh
goes.
my god.
The next, that's Igneous, he's not getting it. Skeleton 7, not so good. The rat. And the third skeleton. So, with you and your arms of Hadar, they need to basically get under a 10. And the rat and skeleton 7 are completely pinned by the tendrils here. The other two get sort of battered and hit by the spell, but are not pinned. So in order to roll damage, you see like on your actions tab next to the spell name, there's like a blood drop.
Yep.
Basically, that's drag that off and roll that, and that's the damage that the shit does. Okay, so the giant rat takes all 7 points of damage and is just completely like almost ripped in two and eviscerated by this fucking thing and is dead. Just instantly fucking blah, gone. The other skeleton, skeleton 7, takes 7 points of damage. And looks like, pieces of bones are ripped and thrown everywhere, but not dead. The other two skeletons, let's see, take 3 points of damage each on account of resisting, and are also looking a bit wounded, but not dead. Now, each of those skeletons also try to. Well, you are backing out, right? Because they don't get the attack against you unless you back away.
Yeah,
but you are also surrounded. You okay? Right.
I'm gonna stand there, but I want enough room so my rock boy.
Yeah. Okay. And you as long as you don't break away from them, you can kind of like pivot a little bit, do like a 5-foot pivot or something.
I'm pivoting right now.
Oh. Sorry, one sec. The lovely Kylie has brought coffee to refill my mug. Alright, you're pivoting.
Okay.
If you want to indicate where you're pivoting by just moving your token a little bit. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a little nudge. I'm okay with that. Alright. Arms of Hadar cast. So basically that's a level 1 spell. You only have one level 1 spell slot per day, I think, or per rest. So you still have your cantrips. But yeah, there you go. All right, so again, we're in tutorial mode. We'll get some smoothness as we roll through, but I'm gonna go slower as we start. The skeleton that you damn near eviscerated is just like coming towards you, and it reaches for like a rusted old sword that it has at its side, and it comes right at you with that fucking thing and swings, and you fucking dodge out of the way. Completely miss. Igneous, you feel Phaedra tugging on behind you. You see all of the things described start to unfold in this small adjacent room. What are you doing? What are you thinking? What's going on?
Igneous is torn because Phaedra is tugging at him, but he also sees things that need to die.
Hey, listen! Hey! Hey, listen!
But I think
I'm also yelling your name.
Oh shit, that's hot coffee.
I think the skeletons will win out. So I mean, I guess, is there even room for me to?
Yeah. So again, like you can kind of push past allies as long as you don't stop on the square. So like you could, in theory, and I don't have to make you that big. You could, in theory, like run into the room and sort of barrel into everyone, but you would be at the center of it all if you did that. What are you doing? What are you thinking?
And
what are you thinking right now?
And Mystagon didn't leave any space to like stay outside of that room and still attack things.
Neither did Malmo. So like it's pretty much all in or watch your friends get eaten by skeletons. You just gotta go gut reaction here. What would Igneous do? WWID. Just run in.
He'll mutter under his breath that you guys are idiots, and then he'll rush in.
Fucking idiots. Okay. So the only real pass option for you is just barreling through that trapdoor and squat dab in the middle, pushing
Nice.
through. Like, just as that rusted blade swooshes past Michigan's head, you fucking just charge in there with your big-ass sword that is probably pretty hard to swing here, but you're gonna try to make it work. You see the skeleton that was swinging at Michigan is clearly the most decrepit and easily crumbled, but maybe your efforts are better spent on one of the healthier ones. Your call. What do you want to do?
I think Igneous isn't all that strategic, so I think he's just going to go after the one that drew blood from his friend.
Okay, Skeleton 7.
Or
So
that swiped at his friend, yeah.
fun thing that you can do to help combat flow is if you, on your attack sheet, on your greatsword, instead of rolling and throwing the die in the chat room, you can throw it and drop it on the creature that you want to hit on the map, and it will automatically tell us if you hit or not. Feel
Where
me?
would we do that? Is that actions?
Yeah, so if you go to actions and you're using your greatsword, so where the big dice icon +6 thing is, drag that off and then throw it and drop it on the skeleton you want to hit with a natural 20. You just fucking bring that sword, big ass sword in, and like in this cramped space, in an effort to try to make more room, you just fucking lift it up and plunge it down into the fucking thing, and it just grinds down into the stone as you, and it is dust and debris as you take a little more breathing room around you in its place. Now, I enjoy describing things, but by all means, if you
Nice.
on a natural 20 and otherwise want to take ownership and describe how you do things, I encourage you to do so. But there you
I
are.
like that description.
You've fucking done it. That is a nice natural 20. That's a great way to start a character. Gap. What are you doing? And Phaedra, I see you sneaking around in the back room. Since you were just dodging and kind of taking action, you can scurry forward a little bit if you want there. I'm good with that. Okay. Gap, your senses were true. You might be a little bit aloof or perhaps walking around in a distant world within your own mind right now. But you watch as your friends move and take action on your behalf. And you stand there and what I'll probably do in most cases if you guys have to step away and we don't agree to take a pause is just have you take a dodge action or something like that. Gap, I see you. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Your brothers have stepped in and crushed both a giant rat and one risen skeleton, but two remain. I don't know how you feel about them. Do you weep for them? Do you care for them? Or do you want to send them on their way?
Yeah, I wanna send them on their way. Let's see. Let me I've got a I've got a little magical spell here that I can.
You've got many. You can now again. Bear in mind, with most of you spellcasters, you've got what are called spell slots. And in your case, Gap, you've got a bunch of spells. You can cast the same spell twice. You can cast one spell once and another spell once. But essentially, out of all of your level 1 spells, you can only cast 2 per rest. And so you can cast 2 of those right now. Cantrips can be cast anytime, anywhere. And then you might have other racial or class features that have abilities as well that aren't related to your spell slots.
The more we get into this fantasy grounds, by the way, this app is as painful as it is. It's like amazing how useful it is.
Yes.
How many
Like
features
playing this shit in high school, this combat encounter would have taken like 2 sessions for the paperwork. So, and then beyond that too, you also have a light crossbow, which, you know, not the greatest against skeletons, but you also have a mace, a one-handed mace that you can bludgeon these motherfuckers with.
Yeah, I'm pretty weak strength-wise, but given that it's a skeleton, I'm feeling a little frivolous. So, kids, you know what? I'm just gonna do a little mace action.
Okay,
See what happens.
you're gonna stroll
I
on
like
there.
that.
So if you want to drag your token to indicate where you're going, you'd basically have to walk in front of Mystagon or Igneous, or go right between them in the middle there. Right in the middle, the tip of the spear. All right, you move forward. Now, what I was telling Igneous, which is a great thing to do, is where it says +0 on your mace. That's your bonus to hit. You scrawny bastard. You drag that dice off, and instead of throwing it in the chat room, drop it on the skeleton that you want to swing at, and it will automatically tell us if you hit them or not.
Which?
So it's the
uh,
on the actions tab of your character sheet. Next to the mace, there's a big black dice icon. It says a 0 on it.
Wait, hold on. Action. Oh, okay. I see the actions tab.
Yeah,
Got it.
at the very top
Next
there.
to the mace. Next to the mace, grab the +0.
And drop it on the skeleton you want to hit.
All right, got it. All right, and
Woo!
Nice.
All right, that will hit skeleton 10. Now, if you want to do the same for the dice damage, because Shane didn't get to do this because he rolled a natural 20 and just obliterated the fucking thing. But where it says 1d6 -2, which is your weak damage, you want to drop that same box dice on that skeleton 10 that you already just hit. So same thing, but it's
where's the -2?
you don't have to worry about it. It's automatically applied
All right, got it.
because you're weak, but we love you anyway. But your magic is strong. So you swing and you're like, ha! You do 2 points of damage to skeleton 10 and just kind of bop it on the skull. It's like, I don't know. I want you to field this one. Like, that's your contribution. What is Gap? How do you handle yourself? I mean, you clearly chipped some bone off a little bit, but
I think I say that'll hurt in the morning, and then I just laugh to myself.
I want Mystagon to be like, what?
And you immediately feel, now that you are the man on the forefront, skeleton number 3 reaches for its rusty short sword and tries to swing at you. It hits.
Oh no.
It punches into your body for 4 points of damage. And I don't know if you like this, like if you like living on, the border between the living and the dead, like that's how you get in the zone. But
I love it.
It, like, the rusted blade pulls back out from your body, and it hurts, man. You only have 3 hit points left. I mean, obviously you're very skilled at healing yourself, but right now you do have 2 skeletons around you, and your allies, like, noble as your efforts were, you stand in a very dangerous situation. We start round 2 going back to Malmos, the skeleton springer.
Malmos is going to do that head lopper.
Ooh.
2 swords.
2 swords. Okay. You can try. I'm gonna be more generous than usual as we get our bearings here. But in a very tight room like this, the tighter it gets, the more you pile in. There will be physical restrictions there. But in this case, you're all friends. You can kind of nudge your way in, Malmos, and try to collectively protect and push Gap out. But in doing so, you would open yourself up for the attacks of opportunity to kind of protect him in this case. I don't know. Is that in your nature? How much do you like Gap?
Yeah, I think that's in my nature to protect.
Okay.
And
Come on, Gap Sandwich.
It's a literal gap sandwich right now between Malmos, Mystagon, and Igneous. There's a gap in the middle. All right, you move in. Blade still
do I
drawn.
get to do my blades?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so how do I attack the skeletons?
Okay, so similar to what I was describing, if you open your character sheet and go to the Actions tab, And then basically, again, you've got 2 entries here. One for your main hand, that's like your stronger arm. Your short sword, I don't know if that's the left or right. And then your offhand, which has the same bonus to hit, but does less damage. So you don't have to attack the same target. You can swing once, sort of see what happens, and then decide if you swing again at the same target or like swing across at the other guy. So what you do with that big +6 dice icon is that's like your 2-hit chance. Let's start with your main hand, and then drop it on the skeleton that you're swinging at on the map.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you stabbed the shit out of that guy. Now, with that same main short sword, why don't you roll damage on him first so we can see what happens?
I forgot how to do that.
So it's just the box right next to the one you just used where it says piercing. That's the damage for the main hand. So drop it on the same skeleton there that you just hit. Ooh, yeah, he's looking fucked up. You fucking lop some bones off, but he's still standing. But you have your offhand attack now.
Okay.
Like.
I'll go ahead and offhand him.
Oh, no, another hit. Go ahead and roll damage on the offhand, which again is slightly less because it doesn't have that +4 bonus. Ooh, still standing, Bobby. Still standing.
Yikes.
He's looking pretty haggard. And so you've kind of put yourself in position here to the benefit of your friend Gap. But in doing so, basically you're taking the attack of opportunities for him. So the first, since you kind of dived in, I allowed you to get your attacks off first. I was kind of secretly hoping you might take one out. But one skeleton swings at you and hits as you protect Gap. It hurts like a motherfucker. The other skeleton swings as you protect Gap and misses, fortunately. It's high stakes at low levels here, boys. Phaedra, you are just watching, maybe taking a few notes about like the epic saga of the secret room. I don't know what you're doing here, but your buddies are piling into the blender of death, and you are just watching. Obviously, being small, you can easily move between those crowded spaces. But what would you like to do?
Okay. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna sneak over, kind of like behind Mr. Gon.
Okay.
And throw. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna throw my quarterstaff up over Malmos's shoulder, and then mage hand it down and smash that bastard.
Can Mage Hand attack with a weapon? You can use your action to control the hand.
I read about it, but I couldn't really
You can
tell.
move the hand. The hand can't attack, activate magic items, or carry anymore. But let's say for now, I'll look into it a bit further for next time on. But for now, let's say it could certainly move the quarterstaff, but it wouldn't have enough force to smack down with it. You could throw a dagger, or you could just move in there and go for it. It's up to you.
In that case, let me do a little cure wound on.
Oh.
Okay.
So
I guess I'm gonna have to do it on Gap.
Okay, you do see that Malmos, who stepped in on Gap's behalf and is surrounded by skeletons, is just as bloodied as Gap is, who's protected by bros.
He's
but it's
protected?
your call.
Okay.
It's your call.
Okay, no. If Gap's protected, then I'll go try to scurry there, and then if I can, scurry back behind Ignatius.
So what I'd like you to do and get in the habit of is just like attacks, you can take that little plus cross icon and pull the dice off, and then drop it on the person you want to heal, and it will automatically do the heal to them. Ooh. You feel a light healing breeze as the magic from
Can I redo it since I got the one? Since I'm lucky.
It's not for. I don't think it's for spell damage or like in this case spell healing.
Okay.
Let me just double check. So
5 points isn't that bad, I guess. Yeah.
no, that +4 is pretty hot. So it's only on an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, not for like healing damage. But Malmos, you hear the familiar pan flute, or I don't know how you bards can deliver their magic in a number of ways.
It was definitely via loot.
Is definitely via lute. You hear some strumming, and feel like a magical aura wrap around you, and immediately see like the wounds start to seal up, and you feel a bit better. You feel a bit better thanks to your you know it was Phaedra. Mr. Gon, we come back to you, my friend.
Hey, so what are the
What are the what?
skeletons? What are their? Do we know they're like kind of? The skeleton 3 is the one that's damaged.
Yeah. So if you look at the color on them, and then
Okay.
if you mouse over, actually I can probably change this when you mouse over. You get like a rough description, but basically the color indicates also on you guys how healthy or damaged you are. So that pale green one is just lightly injured, and the red one is looking pretty near dead.
Okay. I want to do my Eldritch Blast on this super healthy one.
Ooh, okay. So Eldritch Blast is a lot like a weapon in that it's a spell attack. You have to like, it's a skill shot for something you might understand. You have to like throw and hit with the spell. So you can see 2 icons on that. The dice icon, the first one, is just like a weapon attack. You need to drag and throw that on the skeleton on the map that you want to target. And then if it hits, which it does not, then you would do damage. So your blast just fucking goes into the wall and scorches it, but misses the skeleton altogether. You can still move, but otherwise your turn's over.
Yeah, I'm done.
You're gonna stay there, or you're gonna move out of the room?
No, I'm gonna stay there.
Okay, great. So that skeleton immediately like just turns towards you at the source of magical energy and sort of stumbles and shambles forward with that rusted blade that missed Malmos. It tries to stab at you, and you dodge again. Like you're just the expert of dodging rusty blades in tight corridors, apparently. Igneous, you see your friends get hurt, your friends get healed, and 2 skeletons still stand. What do you want to do? You can kind of awkwardly reach and swing at either of these guys right now from your current position.
I'll swing at the well, yeah, I'll swing. I'll just drag onto the right guy.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, you swing and a miss. The tight corridors are proving problematic for you.
Oh no.
Gap, you're clutching at your ribs at the blood spilling out. Obviously, it's gonna get infected with that rusted ancient blade that ripped through your body. You can wait to heal, or you can heal yourself now. You could try to deal with the skeletons, the imminent threat. There's so many options. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna go with I've got a what is it? I've got some one of the Circle of Mortality, I think, is one of my things.
Oh yeah.
It is
Circle of Mortality is it basically just gives you oh yeah, when you would normally roll 1 or more dice to restore hit points, so it basically if a creature is unconscious and dying, we would say they're at 0 hit points. There's no negative hit points in this edition of D&D. And when that's the case, you use the highest possible number for your healing roll against them. So instead of like rolling 1d8, you automatically, I think, just heal 8. You get like the max roll on that person. And you also gained the spare the dying cantrip for free because of that ability from the grave domain. But that basically just allows you to stabilize a dying creature, which in this case is none of you guys. So you've got magic spells, cantrips. You've got your crossbow. You've got options.
I mean, I'm leaning towards a weird spell, but I can't really determine what the hell these things mean.
So inflict wound, like you want to hurt these things, these skeletons?
Yeah, I'm down to hurt them, but I'm also down to do something kind of funky. That's like, something that's undead related that may not entirely just get rid of them, but may do something kind of unexpected.
Well, like something on theme for your character that's a pretty cool cantrip is your Toll the Dead cantrip, which again you don't run out of. You can do this all the time based on your character. You can point at that creature and like, you know, everyone around you would kind of hear like the death knell of bells filling the air, whatever flavor you want to add to it for your magic. And that creature has to make a wisdom saving throw. Like the magic that holds this animated skeleton together would have to resist your spell. But if it fails, it takes necromancy damage and basically sends it back to the grave. If the target's already been injured, which both of these have, it does even more damage than it would have. So instead of a D8, you'd roll a D12.
All right, let's do this. Sounds fun.
All right, Toll the Dead. So what you could do for me, the dice icon on that one, the first symbol, drag that on the target that you want to send back to the grave.
So I'm not seeing this in abilities though. Is it in skills?
It's under actions, and it's under spells, cantrips, where you see 2 rows of spells there. Toll the Dead.
Got it.
So
Okay.
the dice icon, drop it on a guy. That'll tell us if he resists your magic or not.
Does anyone have a preference which guy I hit?
Go with your guts, Gap. Do you want to try to finish one off, or take the more healthy one?
Take on a healthy one.
Okay, let's do it.
I accidentally clicked something that came up on the chat.
That's all right.
Norman?
You got this, Ian?
No.
Drag the Toll the Dead dice symbol onto the skeleton.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times. Nothing's happening.
I'll do it for you. He fails the saving throw, which is good. So, because he's already injured, do you see like the 2 red blood drops? You want the second one, because he's already been injured, you do more damage. You want to do the same thing. You just left click and drag on that blood symbol. It should give a dice in your mouse cursor, and then drop it on the skeleton token on the map.
There you go.
Boom! Bitch! That skeleton just like, and then just drops into a pile of bones and is quite dead.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have told the dead, my friend. You have told it. Skeleton 3, surrounded by the now healed Malmos, tries to plunge its rusted blade in you one last time, and this time staggers and misses. It's like, you know, the missing bones in its thigh have caused it to stumble and stagger. It's leaning against the wall, just kind of staring at you. We go back at the top of round 3 to Malmos, who could retaliate if he wants.
I think yes, I'd like to try to take out this skeleton.
Okay. You still have both your swords in hand. Since there's only one guy left, it's up to you how you do this. I would fucking just say, why don't you swing to hit with both swords first, so you can just drag one on him and then the other. And I have a good feeling you're gonna do it. You're gonna do this. First blade misses. Swoosh. Second blade hits. So with the offhand damage, which is the less damage, go ahead and drop that on him. Malmo, still reeling from the injuries, is unable with 2 swings to finish this thing off. Phaedra, you're watching from the back here. What would you like to do?
Was my healing spell a 1 day kind of thing?
Yeah, so
day?
that took one of your level 1 spell slots.
Okay. How many spell slots do I have?
You got one left for level 1s.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a dagger at this thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna run up. I'm gonna like vault over all over Mystigan, and then like throw it from above.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Get that sight line. All right. You only got the one dagger, so make sure you recover that thing later. But go ahead, throw it. Oh yeah, that's a nice dagger throw.
Hoo-yah! Okay.
Roll damage. Drop it on that bitch.
Where's the which one do I do?
Right next to it, where it says 1d4 plus 2. Damn! Skeleton. Did you actually drop it on him?
What do you mean?
Oh no, you didn't. Okay, yeah. So you can. If you want to mute real quick, sorry, it's echo. So when it's for future reference, if you do those rolls on the token on the map of your target, it will automatically say like hit or miss. In this case, I can still apply it. Your dagger fucking clashes into him, and he is quite dead. The room goes silent as I step away to take a piss.
Nice shot.
And this is why we don't rush into small rooms.
This is a very small room.
I got a bloodthirsty.
And definitely not cleric first.
Yeah.
Whoa. Somebody got cold.
Getting chilly? Push
You're
the top.
muted, man.
Push the shot.
No, I'm not. But I'm about to head out into this shenanigans back.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That looks pretty nice.
It's not snowing in New York.
You got nothing in New York? You're kidding me.
I got nothing in California too.
Man, I want some snow.
All right.
It's really nice, actually, with some good boots and sloshing around in it. Jay, I just showed. Is it snowing up near you?
No, it's pretty mild.
Oh man, we got like a good 7 inches.
Nice.
Whew, okay, you all survived. I'm very happy about that. As
was touch and go for a
Igneous
second
said,
there.
it's an interesting strategery piling into that small room where the undead senses were tingling. But you survived, and hey, it's been a while since you've reunited. Some of your senses aren't as sharp as they used to be in your younger years. In any case, you roll. You examine the room. You see there's a few things in here. Piled along amongst the now dead bodies of the skeletons are 3 intricate-looking arrows. A bunch of regular arrows.
Are we able to move to? With Phaedra leaving, is there like a good stopping point soon?
Yeah. I was just gonna say like, why don't I tell you what you find here, and then maybe this is a good until next time on moment.
Cool.
But essentially, there's in the top right. I'll share Jambot screen again here. Hold on. So if you look at Jambot screen, I'll try to map you to this real quick. But basically, in the top right, there's a few things you can keep open. I've already got it open on his screen. This combat tracker, these 2 swords, will kind of show you whose turn it is in the turn order. And there is a party window that kind of shows you the whole party. And the main thing I want to show you there's a shared party inventory. And what I'll do to remove some of the bullshit of like shared loot is like you all just find a bunch of stuff in this room. You can fight amongst yourselves or have like a more civil way of dealing with this, but I'm gonna drop it in. So basically, like, look, you all just came across 22 gold pieces, a few magic-looking arrows, and a bunch of regular arrows. So at some point we can figure out where that stuff's going, and then I can disperse it to your individual character sheets. But that's
Magic arrows, please.
that's a thing. That's a thing. So you've uncovered this like strange pocket room that was clearly once like an archer's room for looking out and kind of watching. You uncovered these goblin corpses in the previous room, a strange infernal symbol. And then there are 2 doorways that lead deeper into the Citadel that perhaps we'll explore on the next episode.
Oh,
Hey.
Good
Cool.
work, guys.
You all made it.
We did it.
Cool.
Good luck in the snow out there.
Thanks, fella.
Thanks, gentlemen. Hope you had fun.
Thanks, guys. See you next Sunday.
Have fun, guys.